The Morning Drive podcast from Double T 97.3 is presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
I'm Mike Hebert, owner of Cantex Roofing and Construction. Every day is game day, and we'll get it right when it comes to your roofing, construction, windows, and mirrors. Call Cantex Roofing and Construction today. Together, we are one serving you.
Okay, so we talked about this the other day with regards to Trey Lance and what he did for the Cowboys against the Rams, or what he didn't do. And I've got some headlines here. One headline says, Cowboys quarterback Lance debuts shows good progress. Another one that says, Trey Lance proves nothing. And then another one that talks about Mike McCarthy and his decision of a play that we discussed, and it was called puzzling. That he basically, I think, regrets not running the football when they had the ball like 4th and 1 from the 3-yard line. And so I'm gonna go back to what Babe Laufenberg said on the radio, in that they were trying to find out if he could do something, which is the whole purpose of these exhibition games, right? It's not necessarily to win the game; it's to find out what players can do in certain situations. Isn't that kind of your take on things in terms of these preseason exhibition games for these NFL guys?
To build chemistry and to find out which players fit your system and which players are paying attention to their playbook and are being good students, and which players can perform or not. Yeah.
For Mike McCarthy, the headline is Mike McCarthy. Let me get it to you. McCarthy takes the blame for curious play call in Rams game, because even I, as I'm listening to the game, it's 4th and 1. I'm thinking, okay, they're just going to hand the ball off to somebody, or somebody's going to run. Trey Lance is a dual threat quarterback, so to speak. Maybe more of a threat with his legs than his arm right now, because he doesn't seem to be doing very much with it. And I just go back to what Babe Laufenberg was talking about, going, all he has to do is release the ball quickly, throw the fade in the end zone, and it's a touchdown. That's coming from a guy that was a quarterback that spent a lot of time around the team. And I guess I look at it from the standpoint of, I'd rather them try that play there and fail or have success than, hand the ball off and get your first down and go in and score and then wonder, okay, can he make that play in a game?
Yeah, I completely agree with you there. You're finding things out. It's a meaningless preseason game. Mm-hmm. So, like just what you were saying a minute ago about the goal, what the goal is what you're trying to accomplish in preseason is part of it, is trying to analyze guys and figure out if they're good or not. I have a lot of respect for Babe, and I think he's really good at what he does, and I have the same thoughts that you do, that he's a guy that's played the position before. But just because he didn't handle it well once, it doesn't mean that he's never going to.
I understand.
We have this saying around here about you're allowed to get better.
Yes.
But to act like Trey Lance is, we should toss him out with yesterday's, leftover soup. Because he didn't perform great on that one play. I respect Babe's opinion, but again, I'm not all of a sudden Trey Lance is a sack of garbage just because he didn't handle one play well.
No, I'm not saying that. I just think
I've seen great quarterbacks make really stupid plays.
Sure. And I'm not saying that. I think what I've just kind of found fascinating, just when I kind of was doing some research, how everybody's perspective of that game was different in terms of, and people's perspective of games is always going to be different. But
sure,
when you have one guy says, "Oh, he's looking good," one guy says, "No, he proved nothing," and another guy says this, and then the coach says he made a mistake. When When I would have rather Mike McCarthy come out and say, yeah, we did that on purpose because we wanted to see how he could handle that situation. Okay, that game, he didn't handle it very well, or he didn't handle it like we wanted him to, but he's going to learn from that. And next time when we make that play call, if we make that play call, he'll have a better understanding of what we're looking to do. That's really what I would have rather heard from Mike McCarthy.
And you heard him just say, yeah, that's on me for that play call?
Yeah, that he basically confessed that he...
I think if you say all the things that you just said there, you called out that your quarterback didn't perform well. Okay. I don't think you want to call your quarterback out. Just say, yeah, that's on me. I made that play call. I probably should have called something different.
Maybe that's probably why he's the head coach. He said after the game it was a mistake. He said, that's on me. And the mechanics with the officials, there was miscommunication there. I wish I had that play call back.
I don't think you want to... Yeah, well, we gave Trey a chance. He stunk it up. We hope he's better next time. Yeah, I mean, McCarthy didn't.
No, he didn't.
He throw his guy under the bus.
No. Yeah. And I'm sure McCarthy or Trey Lance will tell you. He knows. Well,
you would like to think they told him if he didn't.
Yeah. He knows. But I don't know. I just thought that was.
Yeah, it is funny how one guy thinks he was bad, one guy thinks he was good, and one guy said he showed nothing. Yeah. Right. So, yeah, but that's. I mean, we all have our different opinions.
We do. It's just sometimes you just don't see it that blatantly.
Yeah.
That was kind of
incredibly different. Usually, you see a guy's performance and for the most part, everybody's like, he was really good today or he's really bad today.
Right.
Yeah.
You just kind of as opposed to. Hey, are we watching the same game here?
Yeah.
It's like, that was just kind of my thought on that.
And you wonder if certain people are, have seen enough of him to think, yeah, he's not going to be good, and so everything he does, you assume it's not going to be good.
They have that clouded view of him. Mm-hmm. Uh-huh. Meanwhile, and you, I think you said yesterday you were tired of Micah Parsons talking. His quote yesterday was, no doubt that CeeDee Lamb will play for the Cowboys in week 1.
Oh, that's good. I hope he's right. Mm-hmm.
He said, obviously we miss him. He's one of the best people you can have in a locker room. I'm pretty sure he'll be here soon. CD is part of this brotherhood, whether he likes it or not. He knows he's not going anywhere. The business side, they're going to take care of it. No doubt on week 1, he'll be suiting up for the Dallas Cowboys. Granted, he's not directly involved in the negotiations. Okay,
well, it doesn't mean that he doesn't have an idea, though.
Right. 6:40. The Stay in Sports History's next.
Your daily dose of sports and fun. This is the Morning Drive podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Wednesday, August 14th, 2024.
1919, gentlemen. Back when the Chicago White Sox were good. Outfielder Happy Flesh ties Major League Baseball record of 4 outfield assists in a game in a 15-6 loss to the Boston Red Sox.
Happy Flesh.
Fleesh, maybe? F-E-L-S-C-H?
Fleesh, probably.
Fleesh.
And they were good on Monday night, by the way. Put a whooping on the Yankees.
Yeah, and then made up for it last night. So we're back to, look, there's the team we know all season long.
I don't know. They're 1-1. Got a chance to win a series today.
1933, Jimmy Fox hits for the cycle and sets an AL record with 9 RBI. 1959, the very first meeting is held for the American Football League in Chicago. Charter memberships are handed out to Dallas, New York, Houston, Denver, Los Angeles, Minnesota, Minneapolis, St. Paul, and the AFL would be termed the following week. 1973, I do not know why, maybe Chuck does, Johnny Unitas files a $725,000 suit against the Baltimore Colts.
I think that was injury related. That would be my guess.
Okay.
1981, Phillies' Mike Schmidt hits his 300th career home run off New York Met Mike Scott. 1987, Oakland A's Mark McGwire sets a rookie home run record at 39. He would eventually hit 49 that season. 1991, Minnesota Twins' Dave Winfield is the 23rd to hit 400 home runs.
Which seemed like a big number back then.
Oh, it still is. Be proud of it. If you hit 400 home runs, you should be proud of that.
I hit one, I'd be proud.
no question.
That very true. 2017.
I got one to leave the infield. I'd be proud.
If I made contact, I'd be happy. If I fell directly back into the catcher's mitt. Former Red Raider Chad Bettis makes his first appearance since being diagnosed with cancer. Goes 7 innings of shutout ball in a 3-0 win over the Braves. One of my favorite moments looking back. Him coming back from cancer and then just absolutely dominating in that game. That was cool to see. I'm not a huge fan of these, but I wouldn't turn one down. I prefer the fudge version of this, but happy National Creamsicle Day.
Really? You're not a fan of the creamsicle?
I prefer the fudge. A fudge-sicle over a creamsicle. They're not, like, terrible. I wouldn't turn one down, but there are better versions of the sickle.
I think they're both good. Not near the top of my ice cream list, either one of them, but I think they're both good still.
What's the top of your list?
Vanilla ice cream with real strawberries.
Real strawberries, yeah. Okay. I can get behind that.
Happy birthday, Texas Tech offensive coordinator Zach Kitley is 33 today.
Cool. Nice. Happy birthday, Coach. Happy birthday, kid.
I would have thought some cupcakes for him over there.
I hope so.
Happy birthday to Halle Berry, who's 58, Magic Johnson, 65. Steve Martin, who had his knee straightened and danced like King Tut, is 79. Tim Tebow, 37. Catherine Bell is 56. And Roy Williams is 43. And on this day, in 2003, a major power outage knocks out power across the eastern United States and parts of Canada. Beginning at 4:10 in the afternoon, 21 power stations shut down in just 3 minutes. 50 million people were affected, including residents of New York, Cleveland, and Detroit, as well as Toronto and Ottawa.
What year was this?
2003. This is not the hairdryer plugged in somewhere in the 70s. Although power companies were able...
That wasn't the case in the 70s. I mean, the 70s blackout was the real deal, too.
It was. I'm not saying it wasn't. Although power companies were able to resume some services in as little as 2 hours, power remained off in other places for more than a day. Outages stopped trains and elevators and disrupted everything from cellular tower service to operations at hospitals to traffic at airports. In New York City, it took more than 2 hours for passengers to be evacuated from stalled subway trains. In New York alone, the estimated cost of the blackout was more than $500 million. And that is This Day in Sports History.
All right, This Day in Sports History, 6:50 this morning here on the Morning Drive. Yates Flooring Center chat line is open. Yes, sir.
If I could have reached the light switch when I said, in this day, 2003, boom, and then you guys would have been like, what happened here? But I it's way over there. I couldn't reach it. It would have been a visual gag, and people watching on Fox 34 News Now would have got it. You guys would have gotten it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, well.
I thought about it. I just can't reach. I did try first.
You could have had a little stick with you.
And then I had to bring a stick to work.
Yeah. The Yates Flooring Center chat line is open. Go to the Double T 97.3 mobile app presented by Happy State Bank. Let's see here. This from the Yates Flooring Center chat line. Viva73 says, good morning, guys. I hope Hump Day is a great day for everyone on the Morning Drive. Hope you have a great show. Well, thank you.
That was very nice.
Thank you. That is very nice. The Rangers are closer to the A's than they are to the first place team. They are a one-hit wonder. Okay, go Astros, Chuck. Okay, well, I mean, again, this time a year ago, if anybody had said to you, Ranger fans, hey, you're going to win a World Series, but a year from now, you're going to be 9.5 games back of Houston. Would you take that?
Yes.
Yes.
You're talking to an Astros fan, Chuck. They were just rubbing it in to the Rangers.
I know.
I mean,
I'm just trying to respond to that.
Yeah. I mean, You won your first World Series. I don't think any Ranger fans are outraged. Oh, there was one on the chat line yesterday that said it was a disgrace and none of them had any desire to win. just So you talked to every one of them, did you?
That's a ridiculous statement.
Yes.
It's just ridiculous.
Each and every one. You sat down, you asked them, nah, I'm not really into it this year. I don't feel like winning.
With all the, I mean, you can make. Look, this is one of those years where the injury bug was throughout that whole team, and has been costly. But you're right; they're closer to the A's than they are to the Astros. There's no doubt about that, and they just they can't score. I mean, and that's it's a big part of the problem. Giving up too many runs and not scoring enough. But they ain't the White Sox, who have been outscored by 244 runs
this week.
I wonder what the big league record is in a season for a team to be outscored by another team, by their opponents. 244 seems to be, this juncture of the season seems to be pretty high.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Somebody says this, how about Juan Soto hitting 3 home runs? 2 of the homers being opposite field home runs. Yeah, he's hitting the ball really well right now, isn't he?
He was pretty key last night since they only scored 4 runs. Yeah, he was pretty big.
We get this here at Primrose Retirement Community. Eric, the chef, has a creamsicle cake, white cake with icing that tastes just like a creamsicle.
Oh, wow.
It is to die for. Well, I mean, okay,
That's pretty cool.
Careful with that terminology in that particular place, but yes, I'm sure it's very tasty.
That's what I picked up too. Let's not do any dying over there today, okay?
That's pretty harsh.
I just said careful with the terminology.
I know. I was right there with you, Jeff. As soon as I saw that it's to die for, I'm like, okay.
I'm sure it's very lovely. I would thoroughly enjoy a piece of that cake. Actually,
Derek, the chef, makes one for somebody today, and they don't make it. You can bring it over here, and we'll eat it. All right, it's just before 7 this morning here on the Morning Drive.
This is the Morning Drive podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
7:15 this morning here on the Morning Drive. Good morning with Jamie Lent and Jeff McGuire. I'm Chuck Heinz. It is great to have you with us today on the Morning Drive. Thoughts, comments, Yates Flooring Center chat line. If you have a busy morning and you want to share, you can. If you've got any kind of frustrations, you can share that as well this morning with us on the Morning Drive. We're up for letting people share frustrations, right?
Frustrations.
Yeah, frustrations or good news. I mean,
do you have any?
I really, I don't think I have any frustrations today.
It's good.
I think I've got a pretty clear head today, and there's no real big roadblocks in front of me. I don't think today, but I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful for a good day today. Smooth sailing, clean snow.
Okay.
Soft sand in the beach, all that kind of stuff.
Here's one of late for me. I wouldn't call it frustration, just a question.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so service vehicles of any kind need to and should have lights, right? That let everybody know, if they're stopped and working on something. Yeah. Okay, that there should be, hey, watch out, be careful. Whether it's they're working on the road or they're there's whether it's cable lines or whatever. Sometimes they have to stop on the side of the road, and you want to be alerted of that. I just feel like we see more and more of those folks driving around town, like down in the middle of the Marshall Sharp with flashing lights going on.
Oh yeah, no, I'm with you on that.
What are we doing?
I don't know.
Are we kind of abusing the power there?
Kind of feels that way, doesn't it?
Yeah. How about if we're not in the process of working, we have the lights off? Yeah. Because otherwise, to me, it's just distracting. Right.
We're talking about the road construction people and things like that, or the safety. Not the police or the ambulance.
Yeah. Well, if you're in the process of working, yes. So police and ambulance would be no question, right?
But that's not what you're talking about.
Yeah, but like if you're on the side of the road working on something, put those on.
Sure.
So people see you. But if you're driving to where you're going to work, doesn't feel like you should have the service lights on.
In a former life, working at a different place that had a vehicle that had yellow lights on top of it. I may or may not have driven back from a remote a couple of times with those lights on because I forgot to turn them off.
Forgot to turn them off.
Yeah, well,
My normal vehicle doesn't have those lights, so it's not something I think about.
So your radio station had
A yellow light bar on top of it, yeah.
for what reason?
To draw attention to it when we were on location.
How obnoxious.
We've had that here too, so it's
That's not an uncommon
yeah,
thing.
it's not uncommon.
But I may or may not have pulled into the parking lot and saw it bouncing off the wall and went, uh-oh, click. Oops.
I can't remember if the current Magic van has that, but it's had that light bar.
Yeah, I will promise you. I, Jamie Lent, solemnly swear to you, as long as I am the program director of Double T 97.3 and 100.7 The Score, we will never have flashing lights on our vehicle. That's just straight up obnoxious.
It's like Jeff said. I mean, it's to let everybody know that you're there, right?
Again, I may or may not have driven back from a couple of remotes with the stupid light bar on.
So you think that's what's going on?
I think that's what some of it is, yeah.
That they forget. Yeah,
because it's just running all day, and then they jump in it to go back to the office or whatever, and then they get back and like, oh, oops, and then jump back and turn it on.
I absolutely get the purpose of them and feel like if they're anywhere on the side of the road or whatever, you need to put them on, and we all need to be careful when we're around them and we see them. But when you're driving down the Marcia Sharp and you're like, okay, well, what's going on? Why am I supposed to not pass this vehicle? What's going on? And
Sam's forgot to turn them off.
Yeah, or it's like a dog catcher. I'm like, sorry, dog catcher, I don't know that you need the lights.
Yeah, right. No,
yeah.
I got you. You and Choice on the bottom line and Clint have been doing blind projections, picking the games of each one of the Big 12 schools. How do you feel that's gone so far in terms of the accuracy of what you think is going to happen? Because it's a collective, and sometimes majority wins. And sometimes it's not necessarily what you personally think is going to happen with a particular game. But do you think by and large you guys are pretty close?
I mean, I know Choice and Clint and myself, and we're usually pretty wrong.
Okay. See, I was giving you some bit. Frankly, I enjoy it when you do that. I mean,
okay, good.
I mean, it's I might linger in my car a little longer than I should if I'm really interested in the games that you're picking.
Well, I'll tell you right now, I feel good about our picks, and I'll tell you right now that I think there's a good chance we'll be completely wrong on some of them.
You had the Red Raiders at 8-4, correct?
Correct.
Does anybody have 10 wins yet?
Yes.
Did Arizona have 10 wins?
I think Arizona did.
What about Utah?
I think Utah...
I thought Arizona had not. Well, maybe they do have 10.
I thought Arizona and Utah both did.
Had 10? Okay.
Yeah.
Right. In this particular article from The Athletic, it's written by...
looking at the Jayhawks schedule yesterday...
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard like we feel about 8-4. Like if you don't win 8 games in the regular season this year, that's bad, right? I feel that way about Kansas' schedule with the number at 10. Their schedule is even easier than ours.
Yeah.
I mean, we've got a pretty beneficial schedule. Theirs is way easier than ours. Mm-hmm. And that's a good football team.
Yeah, when you guys were going through that yesterday, and you guys were...
Like Clint even said, I think I'll be disappointed if it's not 10. He goes, but because of the history of Kansas football, if we're at 8, I'll be thrilled.
Yeah, because...
So that kind of made no sense, but you look at the schedule, there's no reason that KU's not winning 10 games.
I'm just going to tell you, I think there's 2 factors that are going to go against them this year. One, playing at Arrowhead for their conference games, because they're not going to have any home mojo.
And they have before?
They played one. They would play the Missouri game.
Yeah, no, they've had home mojo before.
Well, they did last year. I mean, when they're winning, I mean, they would have 50,000 there at Memorial Stadium. But the other factor I think is truly, can they keep their quarterback healthy? And then I think their defense is very suspicious.
Well, the quarterback thing is for everybody in the league for the most part.
Right, but I mean, it's just...
And he's been hurt.
And his history is not good.
Yeah.
All right, so this article in The Athletic, how many do you think they have any teams over 10 wins, at 10 wins?
I would guess no.
No is the correct answer. They have Utah, I don't know why they do this, 9.2, and Kansas State at 9, and then Oklahoma State at 8.8. I have a hard time believing that Arizona is going to win less than 8 games, which is what they have them. They have them at 7.7.
Yeah, that seems crazy.
Now, if with the coaching change and philosophy change, and I mean they've got some disruption there.
I think they're a huge question mark.
Yeah.
I mean, they bring back a talented team, but you do have a new coach in there, but he did a good job of keeping the team together and not having everybody bail on him, and so you give him a lot of credit for that. But it is a new coach.
Where do you think they have the Red Raiders? How many wins?
Oh, probably 7.
Yeah, 7.3. And they also listed a percentage of winning the conference. And of the teams that have more than 1% by their name, Texas is the lowest at 2.6%. Cincinnati, Baylor, Colorado, BYU, Arizona State, and Houston, the last 3 have 0% chance. The other 3 less than 1% chance. They list Utah and Kansas State at the very top. Utah at 24%, K-State 23.9%. And then there's a drop-off to Oklahoma State at 16%, and Arizona only 6.7%.
I think 2.6% of winning the conference is fair.
It's fair? Okay.
It's fair.
Okay.
I mean, I think the odds are pretty stacked against you.
Yeah. Certainly less than Iowa State, Kansas, TCU, UCF, and West Virginia is what's ahead of Tech.
So Morning Drive podcast from Double T 97.3 is presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction. Jamie's question of the day on Double T 97.3 is brought to you by Connecticut of West Texas.
Okay, guys, so I asked this to the bottom line guys 2 days ago. I hope you weren't listening. I'm fearful that you might have been.
Okay, I don't know if I got this one or not.
And I think this is a really difficult question.
And you're asking the two of us.
Yeah.
Oh, because
we're so good at the easy questions.
We had different answers on the bottom line, and so we'll see what you guys answer. If you look at Texas Tech football in 2024, if you looked at Texas Tech men's basketball in 2024, 2025, and you looked at Texas Tech baseball in 2025, so this upcoming school year, which of those 3 teams finishes the highest in the Big 12?
Man, I did not hear this question.
You got to factor in a lot of things here, right? Like how good is the team, obviously, and really the other thing is how good is the league?
That's the first thought that went to my mind was after I'm thinking about, especially just looking at football, basketball, okay? Because I think from a basketball standpoint, even with, I don't think your losses were that much compared to what your additions were. In other words, I think the loss of Oklahoma and Texas in football, that wasn't that big a deal losing them in basketball.
Wasn't as big of a deal.
Yeah,
that's fair.
Yeah, and so I think the impact on baseball is different because I think they were better in baseball than they were in basketball. So who's going to have the higher? So your
who's
question:
going to finish the highest?
Who's going to finish the highest? I think the football team, because I think the football team has a real shot at being 6-3, and I think the parity of the league is going to be a league that your conference champions that are going to play in the championship game are probably going to be 8-1, 7-2. I don't think anybody's going to be 9-0, but I think the rest of the league is going to be a bunch of 5-4s and 6-3s.
Okay, put them in order for me. So football 1.
Football's 1. Basketball's 2, and baseball's 3.
Chuck and I almost couldn't disagree more. Baseball 1, basketball 2, football 3. I think Arizona, Utah, and Oklahoma State are going to be battling for the top 3 spots in the Big 12 for football. So that puts Tech at 4th. I think you're on the outside of the top 3 of that. When I look at basketball, where did you finish last year?
Tied for 3rd. So would you say this year's basketball roster is better than last year? I would, from all the recruits that we had coming in and the guys that you left and some of the, I don't want to say situations, but if we paid one guy $1.2 million, I bet the rest of them aren't getting, we didn't get the rest of them with a coupon. So
right.
I bet the rest of them.
Once in a buy one, get one.
I bet the rest of them are well paid too. So surely we've got a pretty good roster over there that we've quote unquote assembled.
Tied for 3rd with an improved roster, I like your chances of moving up or at least holding that position. But I've got baseball at the top of that. You should be contending for a Big 12 title in baseball. I look at last year as an anomaly of everything that could go wrong did go wrong at the worst possible time. And I trust that Tim Tadlock still knows how to recruit and still knows how to coach and all the things that we know full well that a run of extremely bad luck can make it look like you don't know what you're doing anymore. And I think that's what you had last year with a baseball team, that nothing went right for you. I don't think that is the rule. I think that's the exception. So baseball, basketball, football.
Okay, so my answer, if it depend, I think the league is a huge factor to me. Huge factor. Mm-hmm. I think the toughest league is basketball. Okay? I think the easiest league right now is baseball. All right? I think you have, if we're not counting the Red Raiders, and after last season, maybe you shouldn't count the Red Raiders. I think you have 2 elite programs, college baseball programs, in Oklahoma State, and I'm going to give a second one in TCU, and maybe we shouldn't count them because they also didn't make the postseason last year.
Yeah.
And we're picked preseason top 5.
But just the resources that they're pouring into that tell you that that's an anomaly.
Yes, and the offseason acquisitions that they've made and all the above. Okay? Mm-hmm. So you have 2 elite, baseball programs that are pouring a ton of money in there right now in the conference. That's 2, okay? In basketball, you look at the Baylors and you look at Houston and you look at Kansas and you look at Iowa State.
Oh, by the way, Arizona.
Add them to the mix. Those are really, really good basketball programs.
Mm-hmm. K-State.
I think it's going to be hard for basketball to finish as high as they did a year ago, but I'm not saying it won't happen, okay? Because, again, we're putting together a great roster too.
Yeah.
Okay? So the question is, where does football fall into this? And I do think there's a lot of parity here. So it wouldn't shock me for Texas Tech to finish, around 5, maybe a 4. I think there's 4 teams in Oklahoma State and Arizona and Utah and Kansas State that are above the rest of them. But it wouldn't shock me to see the Red Raiders finish right outside of that group. Man, I think all 3 could finish top 6, okay? And we could all feel really good about those teams because the leagues are, basketball and football, if you finish top 6 in this league, I think you'd feel really good. I think for baseball, we'd move that number to 4 and say, if you don't finish in the top 4, we're probably disappointed about that, okay? It's just an interesting time right now for baseball. I don't know what to expect. It's a different time. Mm-hmm. It's a different time. Don't really know what to expect. So baseball's number 1 for me because I think the league is the easiest, okay? I think baseball has the best chance to finish the highest. I think I really do think I go basketball next and then football last.
Really?
Yep.
Okay.
Your daily dose of sports and fun. This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Good morning with Jamie Lent and Jeff McGuire. I'm Chuck Heinz. End of the bench at 9 this morning. We get this. Chuck, does chili on a hot dog count when it's too hot for chili time?
That's a good question.
Wondering minds need to know. No, it doesn't count.
That's a change.
No, it's not.
No, before it was.
No,
Before
it's
it
not
did
change.
count.
It's not change. I put just a little chili dog. It's just a little chili dog.
Right. When this initially
This is
started,
not-
I asked if the chili on a chili dog counted, and you said yes.
Oh, well, I don't remember that. I have chili when it's 100 degrees because it's 72 inside where I'm cooking it. That seems a little warm, 72. Passive-aggressive Chuck and
Don't come to my
Jamie.
house.
I think that's fair.
Sooner in Lubbock.
I mean, both of those comments were passive aggressive, right?
Yeah, passive-aggressive.
Yeah, it's a little hot for chili, isn't it? And can I get that ketchup like I asked
Right,
for? Yeah. That's definitely passive aggressive.
Yeah. Chuck is always in season, or chili is always in season, Mr. Chuckles.
Well, Chuck, you're always in season too.
Chili is always in season, Mr. Chuckles. That's in all caps. Yeah, just sarcasm there. I'm on the keto diet. We're going to throw some ribs in the crock pot. Oh, stupid easy rib recipe.
It could be, but keep reading.
But chili sounds good tonight. Thanks, Chuck. That from Lindale Jeff.
I don't think chili is always in season is sarcastic. I think that was just straightforward.
Yeah, right.
I don't.
It was the all caps.
Oh, okay.
He was yelling at me. Do you eat other hot and or spicy meals in the summer? Well, sometimes. Why not chili? Chili is a cold weather meal. It's a cold weather meal. It's like when it's.
It feels. I don't eat chili, so I mean, we don't have it at our house, but it feels to me like one that you would eat in the winter more than you would in the summer. But I mean, now that I think about it, I mean, we eat other. I don't know. I'm trying to think of something that would compare, like the spaghetti compare.
No, I don't think so. We had spaghetti last night.
What would and that's what I was about to say. I could eat spaghetti anytime. What would compare to chili that I might eat that I don't
know.
That you would eat is the big question, because I put stew in there. Like if
stew, I would make more towards the winter.
Yes.
We're not having pretty.
But you're not a big fan of it at all.
No, but I mean, I eat it just fine. Just because.
I like a good stew when it's about 20
But we're not eating
outside.
a lot of soup during the summer. Goes on. We don't eat a lot of soup anyways. But like when we do have soup, it's in the winter.
Time, yeah. The soup sounds good, right? Nice cold glass of milk and soup.
I just can't have, like, when I think of summer, some of the things that go with it are the chili dog, Frito pie, and like cookout stuff.
Chili
dog
is
a part
definitely
of that.
Changes. Yeah, I feel like that's more of a summer thing.
I'm out on the Frito pie. Completely out on that. I like Fritos. I like pie. I don't like Frito pie.
Okay, Chuck.
I think Frito pie is more of a chili thing.
I know,
Chuck,
but
not
I
a
just don't
pie.
care for it. I don't care for. I like Fritos with my chili, but not in my chili.
Do you like 3.14?
No, I don't know how to
What
do
about
that.
22/7?
That's 3.14, right?
It is.
Okay.
It's pie.
It's pie. Yeah.
See, look at that. That was a math lesson right there.
There you go.
It kind of was.
You're learning something here.
I was going to see how far you wanted to go with a 3.14.
Mrs. Link ain't got nothing on you, man. All right, so here's my thought. Here's my thought. With NIL, okay, I think as you're talking about this and I'm thinking about it, and I had this thought before something similar came from the chat line, but I because this person says baseball has been hit the hardest in NIL era, not backed like other sports. Okay, my thought is this: the other sports were basically already cheating. Basketball has been paying kids forever. I mean, you go back to the 70s, forever, and football to a degree. But baseball has always been limited because of, scholarships. It's like, 11.5 or 13.25 or whatever the number is. And you haven't seen programs invest per se on a broad scale basis in their baseball programs like they have been over the last, let's just say 10, 15 years, with stadiums, with facilities, locker rooms, et cetera, for the players. And now because of NIL, you're seeing that investment in from a money standpoint too, like you've never seen before. The other sports, it was happening. It was happening in basketball. You were paying guys all over the place. We've seen that here. We've seen that elsewhere, and football to a certain degree as well. But baseball, I don't think you've seen it like you're seeing it today. So I think the NIL, not only has it impacted baseball because programs that are willing to spend that money, but because you can do it legally now, it wasn't being really done that much illegally in the past.
I don't think I'm disagreeing with anything you're saying. I think maybe my stance of this is that if you're in a Power 4 conference, right, I think everybody's spending plenty of NIL money on football, and everybody's spending plenty of NIL money on basketball. Okay? Mm-hmm. I think some are spending plenty of NIL money on baseball.
I agree, but I mean, they weren't doing it illegally in the past like they were with basketball and football.
Fair. Again, I didn't disagree with anything you said.
Yeah.
So I'm saying right now everybody's spending on football and basketball. Only some are spending a ton of NIL money on baseball.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
And I don't think Texas Tech is spending a ton of money on NIL baseball.
I think
they're spending more than they were a year ago, but it's we've heard reports that basketball is top 5 in the country.
Yeah.
The Texas Tech's basketball team is top 5 in the country. We know football is well taken care of. I mean, there are no reports like that about our baseball team.
Yeah.
Okay, they're doing more. Okay, and this is not the coaching staff saying we don't want to do this. Okay, it's collective, all the above, the whole group.
Yeah.
Okay. And so some programs, and you look at those teams in the SEC, they're spending a ton of money on baseball for NIL.
Without question.
Okay.
Without question.
I don't think the Big 12 as a whole is on that level. Okay. And I don't think Texas Tech, compared to some of the other schools in the Big 12, is there.
How do you... Okay, so...
I'm torn on that because I want him to win. I want him to be good. I want him to do all the above. But you know what I think of.
Do you care how you?
I don't want guys here that are only here because of money. I don't. I want them to be here because they love Texas Tech.
I understand.
I want them to be here because they like the education and the coaches and the city. I don't want them to just be here for 6 months so we can pay them.
Well, I think that's going to be. I think what you're saying there, the last statement that you said there, I think that's more basketball related.
1,000%. Yes.
Than it is football or baseball, because I think football, while you're seeing some of that, it's more of a development of what's going to take place over the next 2 or 3 years with some of these guys. Basketball, I mean, you got a kid that's going to be here 9 months, you're going to pay him $1 million, he's probably going to go to the NBA, right?
And we'll never see him on our campus again.
Baseball, we thought that about TJ Shannon too. Baseball, I think is a little bit different than basketball, but I could see what you're saying. But at the end of the day, man, sometimes you just go, you got to say, well, screw it.
So that's why I say I'm torn.
Yeah,
I'm torn because I want our teams to win, but
yeah.
I want people that want to be Red Raiders.
I understand that.
I don't want people.
But
that
I think they can come
just
here.
Want our money.
They can come here and they can come in here and fall in love. They're not, and look, we know this about jobs. You take a job for money, it's generally not going to work out. There's got to be other aspects of it too. I have to think that the NIL component of that can't always just be about the money, that there's got to be a fit. There's got to be a like to the city, the school, the education, all those things. I
think Fardaws will be back soon, sitting in the student section watching men's basketball games and cheering on the team. Yep. Yeah, it can happen, Chuck. I just don't think it's very likely.
Yeah.
This has been the Morning Drive Podcast, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction. Check out our library of Double T 97.3 podcasts at doublet97.3.com.